we're going to start first with 24th place, the Ghost Bears from ACT. On the Ghost Bears, we had Finn, Nickel returning, Striker, Annie, Sauron, and as I just was educated, Alter Ego. I was trying to pronounce it something completely different to that. I won't even accept it how I was trying to pronounce it, but it is, if you read it backwards, it's Alter Ego. And they finished in 24th place. Sync's list had them coming in at 20th. So, yeah, I'm going to hand over to you, Four Eyes. Tell us, how did they play during the tournament? How did their strategy move throughout the tournament, and how did they perform?
Well, I enjoyed playing against them. Obviously, I played against Nickel before and Sauron as well, Chops. Great players. They also had some newer players this year, I believe, in the likes of Finn and Annie as well.
Yeah. I think they also had Striker, who I think has played at Nationals before, but he was definitely at a couple of the pre-nats.
Yeah. I missed 2020, so this year was a huge shock to me to see how many new players there were. But in regards to Ghost Bears, yeah, they were basically organized chaos. They had huge attack potential with Finn, and he obviously did well in side events as well. So, but playing against them, Annie's calls, man, you could hear them from the other side of the maze. It was intense. So, yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about them as a team. They complemented each other well. Obviously, with the newer players being guided by the more experienced players, you could see definite potential there. Obviously being new and inexperienced, just need to get some more games under their belt to try and climb the rankings a bit higher.
I noticed Finn finished on a GRC of 1.26. That was the top of his team, and he got a plus 1.02 tag ratio. So was Finn running their attack?
I did run into him a lot of the times, not physically, but I did stand off against him quite a lot.
You're not the person I'd want to run into in the arena, mate.
Terms everywhere. He's quite skilled. Again, he's got good timing, good positioning as well. He was definitely up there in the attack quite a lot. I didn't really see him on defense when I was attacking his base. When I did, I hardly saw him at all because he was just fast and he was quite a blur. So you'd get dinged and you'd kind of look around and just see like a blonde flash just running off into the distance. So
I think my understanding is that so it was worth noting that Nickel actually rocked up a couple days late into the competition.
Okay. But
obviously you were sick for the first few days of the competition as well, so you probably wouldn't have seen it or noticed. But anyway, so as far as I'm aware, once Nickel came and started playing, he was very much their in-game leader, their lead attacker, and Finn was like the whatever you want to call, like opening batsman, second attacker, something along those lines. And that's very much reflected in his stats. He's got the highest average score of the team. He tagged the most people on the team. He had the highest base average on the team by quite a lot as well. So yeah, that definitely checks out. I only had the pleasure of versing this team once in round robin. But yeah, that was when Nickel wasn't there. So it was the first, I only versed them the one game, and it was at the very start of the competition, so I'm not actually sure how they were structuring their team before Nickel rocked up. But yeah, no, Finn was very, very impressive. He did play Prenats 1, I believe, with the Canberra team that came. And also, while I was going through the stats before, I actually noticed that Finn got a 16k game, so that's pretty...
Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was a pretty, getting that score from anyone is impressive. So
I bet you there's a whole bunch of people who would have been a whole bunch of people who played the final that have never scored 16k in a game before.
Yeah, for sure.
A big score. So for somebody sitting at home, it was great to see Nickelback. Nickelback? I just said Nickelback. No, I don't listen to Nickelback. I'm sorry. Yeah, so many of the people at home might not know he's actually won a Nationals. He won in 2013 with the Dragons. So he has played at the pointy end, has been up there. He's had a few years off, so I'm sure he wasn't at his peak. But I'm really curious to know, hear from you guys, how he went this year, how he played.
Yeah, well, I can comment on. It felt like he's never left. You know, he's still running a good strategic game. Yeah, I haven't really played against him too much in the lead up to his, hiatus for a couple of years. But yeah, he's definitely there, keeping his team motivated and coming up with some decent strategies. I mean, the team did structure quite well, but like I said before, just a little bit of lack of experience, and yeah, they would have done heaps better. But there's huge potential there.
Yeah, I think I was refed one of their games towards the end of the competition. Might have been Cascade 2 or Cascade 1, but yeah, definitely. I think what was lacking for this team was just the overall experience of their. Maybe not of the players themselves necessarily, although they did have two brand new players and striker as well, but it was experience playing as a team. Because when I was watching the defense, for instance, there was a lot of cases of people just slipping by pathways and stuff and getting into their base for free. Someone would come back to the base after it's been taken and they were like, oh, how'd they even get past? It is a mistake that happens, even the top end teams do it. But yeah, that was something I noticed whilst I was reffing, is the defense seemed a little disorganized and they didn't quite have all of the pathways kind of accounted for, I guess would be the way to say it.
Yep. So what would you say is the something like one or two things I could focus on to move them into the next tier?
You can go first, Peter.
Yeah, well, like Holmes mentioned, just organising the defence a little bit better. The attack's just fine. The attack's, yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about their attack, but especially when it comes to defence, maybe just having a last line dedicated, maybe like Annie, because she does have the vocal cords to, call the team home. Just maybe positioning their players a little bit closer to home rather than pushing far out. If they set up, say, maybe in just positions where they're not starved of points, but in areas where they can kind of keep an ear out or an eye out for their base, and having their pathways covered would definitely push them up the scoreboard.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with that as well. I always say to my up and coming players in that league, and Nats players as well, that a lot of really good teams are built upon the insurance policy of their defense being really good. You can have the best attack in the world, but by the time, let's say, your two main attackers go out and they get two bases and you've lost 6 or 7, you might not really be in a good spot in the game. So yeah, a good defense is just a insurance policy that you definitely want to get around. And yeah, I think it'd be a case of, because from what I saw, people were sneaking past and making it to their base without them even knowing about it. A little bit more restriction in terms of how far they go, but also that's the balance of when you're in that field pointing stage, is being far enough out that you can actually have an impact in the game and accrue some tags, but not so far out that people can sneak past you. That's one of the harder bits of the game, I think, in terms of to really nail as a team, because everyone has to be on the same page and know exactly what they're supposed to be doing depending on what position they're playing and stuff. So yeah, just shore up that defense, and yeah, Four Eyes was saying, the attack was clearly doing even Nickel's stats were pretty good as well. So yeah.
Yes, and yeah, Nickel finished on a nearly 1 tag ratio as well, so he was doing really well in there. So, well, yeah, we hope the Ghost Bears return. I'm sure they will. It's great to see Nickel back. I'm sure he'll put a real lift into the scene there. So yeah.
Oh, for sure.
We'll
Good dude.
talk about the dragons soon too. I was really happy with what we, in a later release, we'll talk about the dragons. But I think there was signs there, especially with BG Master getting his second, that there's good things happening down there.